Good afternoon. Thank you for joining today's webinar session called Paperless Tuesdays. And from today forward, we'll be talking about how to be paperless in various industries every Tuesday. That is why we call these webinar sessions Paperless Tuesdays, and we are very excited for it. We have a panel of speakers. My name is Kevin Devecioglu. I'm the Managing Director of Bimser International. Today with me, there is Marty Khalif. He is the President of PSI, Paperless Solutions. He is with us today. Also, I invited one of my colleagues, Sam Watt, to the conversation. He's a member of our software engineering team, and he'll also show us some practical examples of being paperless. Today, we'll mostly focusing on healthcare and medical device industry. In coming weeks, when we have Paperless Tuesdays webinar sessions, we'll be focusing on different industries. There may be about manufacturing, there may be about, for example, legal industry, there may be about service, banking, finance. So there are many different ways to go paperless in different industries. So we'll address those in different weeks when we get together in these webinar sessions. Also, I'd like to remind you that we have a YouTube channel called Bimser International YouTube channel. There you can see our previous webinar recordings, and you can watch and share those webinar recordings with your team members, with your contacts, and with your friends. Same today, we'll be recording today's webinar session, and we'll post it on YouTube as well as on LinkedIn. So you can view it anytime you like, and you can share with your contacts. Okay, great. So now I'd like to introduce Marty Khalif. I'd like to invite him to the virtual stage, I must say. And Marty will be talking about his company and also share some insights from his background and based on his years of experience about benefits of being paperless. Marty, you are ready?
Yes. So my name is Marty Chaloff. I'm with a company called Paperless Solutions. We've been in business since 2005. We started out as a company that just did document conversion, but we quickly found out that document conversion was half a project. Converting the documents is a great idea for saving space, saving time, providing security to the files. But we also realized that once you do that, you have to have a way to retrieve the information. So we've teamed up with a company called Bimser International. Bimser has various modules of software to help retrieve information. And the reason we do that is because we know that retrieving the information is far more important, because if you can't find it, then it's useless. And why do people want to have their documents converted, their paper converted into a paperless format? Because once the documents are filed or scanned into the computer, the files are never misfiled, they're never out of file, it gives instant retrieval information. All you have to do is put in a day or a time or a primary word or a number, and it will find the information. By scanning all that information, not only do you save space and never run out of having documents misfiled, but you can recapture expensive office real estate, because once the document's in the computer, you don't need all those metal file cabinets anymore. Once all this is in all this information's in the computer, then you could create a workflow, because you can, with Bimser software like EBA, you could create a workflow where when the documents come in, it's assigned to the proper individuals at the right time, and by doing that, you'll never miss a date for having files reviewed or missing a payment on a purchase order. But you also get increased security, because a paper file could be copied, could be stolen, it could be photographed or whatever. But if you have it in the computer, only those people with the proper password will be able to get into that file. And it gives you the ability with these passwords to review files remotely. You could create an audit trail on your file on who looked at it last, what they did with it. It allows you to back up all your paper files so that you never lose information. It also lowers your postage cost, because once all the information is in the computer, you can now email and fax directly from the computer. So you save time and money on office printer and fax costs. You're not spending money on file cabinets or file folders. It's also easier to distribute information. Sometimes you have information out there that's sitting at somebody's desk and it's an older date, and they never look at the newer information, but you can email large amounts of information very quickly and make sure that people are only looking at the proper information. If you ever have to go through an audit, auditors will love it. They'll be out of your hair much faster. And of course, it's going green. So it helps save the environment. So we're in that business to help companies with saving time, saving money, saving space, and provide security to the files by digitizing file records. And that's pretty much who we are. Kevin, over to you.
Thank you very much, Marty. I appreciate it. Yes, just like Marty mentioned, the benefits of being paperless actually countless, I must say. We just made a list of it on the slide, as you see. But when you talk about it, when you look at it in detail, there are actually additional benefits of having paperless work environment. So that's very, very important. So what I like to do is I like to talk a little bit about Bimser International, and also just like Marty mentioned today, just for today, it's because today we'll be talking about healthcare and medical device industry. So we'll be talking about one of our products called QDMS that basically helps companies in healthcare and medical device industry go paperless. They can manage their quality management as well as compliance management systems in a digital environment with no need of paper, physical paper. So just like Marty mentioned, you literally go paperless with the help of QDMS. And then we won't only just talk about it, we will also show you, we'll show and tell, basically we'll demonstrate how you can use QDMS to manage your documentation, for example, for compliance and quality management purposes. And then after the demonstration part of our webinar, we'll be having some questions to address more about being paperless, especially in healthcare and medical device industry. So since 1998, we've been offering these 4 products as Bimser International. Since we've been around since 1998, and we have global presence, and we are based in New York. We focus on these 4 products: EBA, BIM, QDMS, and Ensemble. And just like Marty mentioned earlier, they're all designed to help companies automate their business processes. Furthermore, companies can also go paperless with the help of our software solutions. And also Marty made a pretty good point. This is, I think, very, very important. It is not only about digitizing it. We also need to be able to retrieve documentation. If you digitize it, that's a good start. It's a first step. That's great. But you also need to be in a position of retrieving the documentation and data whenever you need to. So that is also critical. That is why actually we put together EBA, our electronic business automation platform. EBA has workflow engine supported by document management, records management, document capturing, as well as dashboard modules. So you can automate all your business processes, you can digitize it, and you can retrieve data whenever you like. We have BIM as an asset, maintenance, energy, facility, and fleet management software that helps companies manage their equipment, machinery, property, facilities, for example. So you can manage the life cycle of your assets. On top of it, you can also manage your periodic, preventive, and predictive maintenance operations. We have QDMS, and as I mentioned earlier today, we'll be focusing more on QDMS today. It is because we are focusing more on the healthcare industry. But QDMS is designed to help companies manage their quality, risk, audit, and compliance management systems. And I'll talk more in detail about QDMS in a second. And finally, Ensemble is a business process modeling, business process performance management, and balanced scorecard management software. It is more of a managerial tool to help companies manage their performance on a department level, I will say. And finally, in bottom, you can see we have contract management and ITSM solutions. Especially contract management is very important in the scope of being paperless. It is because for you to manage your contracts digitally, you need the software solution called EBA, contract management solution, so that you can manage your contracts in a digital environment with no need of paper. That is critical because we know that most of the contracts, as we know it, are actually on paper. And with the help of contract management solution, you can store your contracts in digital environment. You can retrieve them whenever you like, and you can sign them digitally. Also, we need to mention that our software products are designed to run standalone. So there is no other additional software solution needed to install our products. They work standalone. They work on cloud, on-premise servers, and they have mobile apps available as well. This is an important slide that I like to also spend some time on it. It shows how many projects we have delivered by the end of last year, since 1998. And when you look at these numbers, they also show how many customers we have, more or less. Especially QDMS, the one that we'll talk about today, is our hot seller. That's our bestseller product. We have more than 1,000 corporate customers of QDMS and more than 1 million professional users of QDMS. So that is a product that we are very, very specialized in. And thanks to QDMS, that's why we are actually experts in digital quality management and compliance management. When we look at EBA, our electronic business automation platform, we have more than 500 corporate customers and more than 1.5 million professional users, and these numbers are increasing every month. And we have a lot of, I would say, references, because we have been in the market since 1998. Some of our customers are enterprise level, very well-known, reputable brands. For example, we work with 3M, we work with Bridgestone, we work with Ford, Hyundai. Unilever is one of our customers. We are also working with United Nations, Starbucks, Pledis, also customers as well, one of our customers as well. So we are actively promoting being paperless via our products, and we are increasing the number of companies that we have in our reference list. Okay, great. So let's talk about digital transformation of quality management for being paperless. So we are trying to be paperless, and we like to utilize technology that's available in the marketplace. And that is important to understand how we can go actually paperless in actually healthcare industry. So when we think about quality management and compliance management, these are the requirements for any company in healthcare and medical device industry. That is very critical. It is because without these compliance requirements actually satisfied, you cannot really operate in medical device and healthcare industry. That's why it's actually very important. Also, when you look at this list, there are different industries requiring different quality and compliance systems, basically. Today, we'll be focusing more on the medical device and healthcare part, but as you see, there is a list of it. And there are different requirements. So that is not easy, as we know it. There are challenges for companies to comply these requirements. So one of them is for healthcare and medical device industry, for example. These systems require paperwork. So you need to manage your documentation. You need to manage your policies, procedures, SOPs. You need to also manage your SSOPs, right? Sanitation Standard Operating Procedures. So these policies, procedures, and SOPs basically generate a lot of documentation that you need to manage, you need to update, you need to share with your team members, and just like Marty mentioned earlier, you need to retrieve them when you need them. So that is not really easy. So that is why we put together this proactive management framework. We call this proactive management framework because it has 3 parts, and we believe that if you follow, if you satisfy these 3 pillars, or if you follow them, we believe that you can be paperless in quality and compliance management, and you can be proactive instead of reactive. Meaning you can actually manage the process in terms of your compliance in the scope of being paperless. So what do we have on this framework? We have assurance. Assurance is your quality management system. Typically, if you are in medical device industry, highly likely you are complying with ISO 13485. That is your quality assurance system. That is a system that you follow. And typically, what we see in the market is assurance. The first pillar is actually dictating the control pillar, the second piece, basically. So you may want to have control points in your organization based on your quality management system. And this part is a little critical. I would say really critical. It is because based on our expertise and our observation, the control piece generates the most amount of paper. It is because if you have control points, let's say you have quality control when you receive a raw material, then you receive, let's say, supplementary materials for your manufacturing operations in your medical device and healthcare processes. Or let's say you have quality control points after manufacturing. You do these quality control acts, you perform these on daily basis, sometimes hourly, depends on your production schedule. So if you have paper-based forms that you fill on daily basis or hourly basis, you generate paper constantly. That is why we believe that control piece is very important to focus on in terms of going paperless. If you digitize your quality control forms, then you not only going to go paperless, you also have a chance to control the processes better. You can analyze better because all the data that you'll collect is going to go into the central repository. That is where it's going to go. That's where you can actually get the results of your quality control activities, and you can basically make decisions, managerial decisions to improve the processes. Because let's remember, all these quality and compliance management systems I just listed in my previous slide, they are designed to help you for two things. One, they are designed to help you have continuous improvement culture in your company. Two, they are designed to help you increase customer satisfaction. Well, since we are talking about healthcare and medical device industry, maybe I can add the third piece, which is safety of public and safety of your employees, because you are dealing with health right now. It's very, very important. And these three reasons of quality and compliance management systems important in healthcare and medical device industry is something that we need to really pay attention to. And the third piece is predict. That is basically touching to IoT devices and smart sensors. As we know it, some of the medical device and healthcare industry requirements in compliance, especially for good manufacturing practices as we know it, you need to monitor the temperature and humidity of your work environment. If you have smart sensors, for example, you can remotely monitor temperature and humidity of your work environment, even if you are not there. And if there is any irregularity, if it is too hot, if it is too cold, then these devices can let you know. And thanks to our software solutions, we can also help you take action on top of it. It's good to be notified, but someone needs to take action, right? So that is why we design our software products to help you manage these three pillars in the scope of proactive management. And you can take action and you can go paperless. That is basically the bottom line to increase your customer satisfaction, safety of your employees and your customers when you produce, also to have continuous improvement in place. So having said that, I'll talk about QDMS a little bit. QDMS is our quality, risk, audit, and compliance management system. As I mentioned earlier, we have more than 1,000 corporate customers and more than 1 million proficient users of QDMS. So that's designed to help companies have paperless compliance in this digital age. It has a very modern technology. With QDMS, you can integrate with IoT devices, manufacturing execution systems, CRM systems, and ERP systems. These integrations are optional, but they're always on the table for you. You can always decide to integrate. The advantage of is that you'll have an integrated management system, meaning you'll have a paperless work environment. Now you are dealing with the digital software products to capture data, store it, and retrieve it. And also there is no need for double entry. So if I enter data in one system, then QDMS can capture it, bring it in the system, and help you process, analyze, and manage your quality management system, which is very important nowadays. QDMS is designed to help you manage different quality management systems. You can manage more than one quality management system in one QDMS deployment, for example. That is very user-friendly. Once we train quality management teams properly, they typically manage it themselves, quality managers, and there is no need for any outside help or consultants and so on. System is pretty straightforward. It is web-based, meaning we can deploy QDMS on cloud or on-premise servers. No matter where we deploy, there is web-based. You can access QDMS via web browser wherever you are. You may be working remotely, You may be out of your office, for example. Having a web-based system help you manage your quality management system and data paperless, and you can access it remotely, which is a great advantage nowadays. And QDMS has a modular structure, meaning we have over 30 modules of QDMS available right now, and you can pick and choose what module you like depending upon your quality management system. If you are in medical device industry, if you are compliant 13485, ISO 13485, for example, you may want to have control document management to manage your policies, procedures, and SOPs, for example, in a digital environment. You may want to have corrective action for continuous improvement as an example, as a module. Since you are in medical device industry, highly likely you have devices. So if you need to adjust your devices from time to time, that is why calibration module may be a great help for you. Also, since you are compliant with ISO in healthcare and medical device industry, you need to audit yourself internally to make sure everyone in the company follows proper policies and procedures in place. And these audits also can be run digitally with the help of Audit Manager module of QDMS. Okay, great. So that is my piece so far. What I like to do is that I like to invite my team member, Sam Watt. He's our pre-sales software engineer from our engineering team. And Sam will show us QDMS in action. So we've been talking about it. Let's also demonstrate it for you. And you can see document manager module, control document manager module for companies to manage their documents in a digital environment for compliance purposes. We'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about calibration module. And we'll also give you an idea of how one can actually enjoy the benefits of QDMS in the scope of being paperless and being able to access the system anywhere via internet, basically. Sam, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Please take over the screen when you're ready.
Sure. Just want to make sure you can see my screen. Okay.
Yes,
that's great.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you for joining this webinar. This is Sam at Bimser International. So this is the home screen after you log into QDMS, our quality, risk, audit, and compliance management system. You can find all the pending tasks and requests for approval right after you log into the system. And you can have a quick connection and start proceeding the request. For example, this one is the request for approval. And then we can click the link here in this widget, and you will be led to the approval page in QDMS. And QDMS is a modular system, as Kevin mentioned in his presentation, so that you can find all the available modules that is installed on your cloud server or on-premise server. As now I'm logging in as the administrator, which you can tell from the username on the top right, so that I have the full control of the system. The reason why I mention this because QDMS is a permission-based system. Your permission will be based on your role, profession, position, department, or group. So you will see what you are supposed to do in QDMS, which means not everyone can see everything in QDMS. And today, I want to show you is the control document management module, also the calibration module, as known as device management system module in QDMS. And let's get started. In the control document management module, it's helped you to upload your document, for example, like a procedure, policy, SOP, or the standard or training material of your company for complying with the standard that are. So as you're in the healthcare industry and also the medical device industry, it is very important that your company complied with those standards, for example, like ISO or FDA and so on. So with the help of control document management module, you can upload your document, starting the revision process or managing the flow, the structure of in this module. As I mentioned, You can upload your document like in different type, SOP, procedure, standards, and so on, and how you can read your document. So you can come to the view document in QDMS, and on your left, you can find the nice folder structure that you defined in QDMS, and all the documents that in this folder will be on your right. And you don't need any other software or solution to read your document. And instead, the content of your document will be shown in the built-in browser of QDMS. QDMS supports different file formats, for example, like our Notepad, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, image, PDF, even audio and video. So you can view or you can read your document in the built-in browser of QDMS, and you can find all the basic information of your document, like the creation date, revision date, the owner, and also the code and name. With the permission that is granted to your account, you can always get back to the previous version of this document. And as I mentioned about the permission, you can always manage the permission of the users or groups that we have in QDMS, like reading the document, printing it, revising, or getting back to the previous version, and deleting the document. You can also set up the distribution list, which means who or which user or user group has the obligation to read the documents once it is uploaded or updated in the system. To this approval, you can find who is or are the approver for uploading this document or revising this document. If you find anything wrong with the document, you can always get in touch or reach out to the approver and see if there is any revision process is needed. At last, all the activities that the users carry out in the system will be recorded in the log of QDMS. So in this particular case, all the action that the users carry out against this particular document will be shown under this history tab. And in this tab, you can find out who did what on what day, and QDMS also showed you the action type in this list as well. So it can be also the audit trail for you to manage and monitor what kind of action or activities that the user has or in the system. In the modules of QDMS, there is a reporting tool which allows you to create the ready-made report. For example, we can use the reporting tool to create our document status report. You can put the condition to your report. For example, we want to see how many and which documents they are under the revision process. And then we can set this up in the searching field and start the searching. All the documents that are under the revision process will be shown in a list so that you can find out what which status the document they are at, and also who start the revision process. Furthermore, you can export any report that you generate in QDMS to an Excel file or PDF file for sharing with any responsible parties. As I mentioned, you can manage your folder structure in Control Document Management module, so that you can come to create a new folder. And considering we want to add a new subfolder under this folder named as standard, so we can add a new one and grant a new name and code for this folder. For example, this is a policy, so we can have P as the folder code, and also enter the name. for example, a policy for healthcare industry. Okay, and right here, this is very important, is we can create an automatic code template, which means we can enter the code template like this, HC- hashtag, and set up the counter as 0. So the next new document that you add in this folder will have a document code as HC-001 generated automatically by the system, so that you don't have to keep tracking which number you are now using for the new document. And also, once you revise a new document, revise your existing document in QDMS, the system will increment the version number automatically for you. Furthermore, you can define the default of permission matrix, like what the users and the user groups can do in this folder, and also the default distribution list and default auto approval matrix for this folder. So once you upload a new document in this folder, this new document will apply this default matrix for permission, distribution, and approval automatically. So you don't have to manage it one by one and every single time you upload a new document. And next, I want to show you is the calibration module, as known as device management system module in QDMS. In QDMS, you can define your device in this module, for example, like the manufacturing machine, so that you can add a new machinery, equipment, or any kind of your asset in QDMS and in this calibration module. For example, you can pick and choose the device category, like if it is a vehicle or a machinery, equipment, and so on, and give it a name. For example, this is a vehicle, this is a truck. And for example, you have a fleet, so that we will grant a number in order to identify which truck we are entering or saving in QDMS. So let's say it is 011. And more information that you can enter here, like the brand, the model. If needed, you can also enter the serial number. And that is very important that you defined the device responsible person in calibration module. So I'm going to pick myself because I'm the one who is going to take care of all the calibration operations for this device. And also you can enter the status of your device, and this drop-down list that you can see on the screen is configurable, which means anytime you can edit or delete any item that you can see in this drop-down list. If there is any attachment that you want to connect with this device, for example, like the warranty or the guideline, handbook, or the photo of your device, since the appearance is one of the best way that you identify which asset you are interacting with, you are more than welcome to attach the photo and any document from your local drive and connect it to this new device. And next, in calibration module, how we can manage the calibration operations that we have in our company. For example, in order to comply with the standard, like we want to fulfill certain operations, for example, checking the meter or make sure aligning our machinery or the gear in our machinery or equipment, how we can add a new record in QDMS. So you can come to the fulfill operations and create a new order. And I'm going to pull up one of the records that we have, and then you can see we can pick and choose the operation type and also the device that we have recorded in QDMS. After that, we can pick and choose the calibration responsible, which will be default as the device responsible person, because he or she is supposed to take care of all the calibration operations. But you can still choose another person to perform this calibration operations for this record. And considering like you have different locations in your company, so that you can pick and choose the calibration location, like in Washington, New York, or California, for example. And you are more than welcome to pick and choose the location in a list. Okay. So the responsible person will receive a notification in QDMS and also in his or her email inbox. So like the responsible person perform the calibration operation. So how they can update the status of this record, we can come to the calibration report. So the responsible person will be asked and enter what they have done to this device, and also entering the measurement value for this calibration operation. For example, like aligning like how many centimeters or they have aligned it and for this particular machinery or equipment, and also the date they have done the calibration, and also attach any document if needed. For example, like the photo or any report that can be a proof for this responsible person that they have done their job. Okay. And after that, we can download the report from this calibration module and as a reference for the calibration job done that is done by certain employee. In addition, you can create the ready-made report by using the reporting tool that is provided in every single modules in QDMS. For example, like we can have our timetable report and see what kind of calibration that is assigned and scheduled in a timetable, so that we can create it and show those in a calendar view, so that you will have an idea what kind of calibration operation is scheduled to this particular department. And as Kevin mentioned in his presentation, mobile application is also available for QDMS. So you can download QDMS Mobile on your Android or iOS device, so that you can use QDMS on your smartphone or tablet. And what I'm going to do next is show you the mobile application right on this screen. And what you will see is the Android or is QDMS running on my Android device. There we go. So this is my smartphone, and after downloading QDMS and connect to the server, you can see all the pending tasks right after you log into QDMS Mobile. And also you can see the same main menu that you can see on your web browser. So I can find the document management module, corrective action module, as known as CAPA, campaigns, action, and so on, right on my smartphone. So it's allowed you to manage the requests and also your task anytime and anywhere on your handheld device with the internet connection. It's come to the end of my demonstration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam. Much appreciated for the demonstration. As you see, thanks to digital age, now it is much easier than before to manage your documentation in digital environment. So QDMS, our quality risk audit and compliance management system, is designed to help you manage your documentation and operations in a paperless environment. And as Sam demonstrated earlier, it is also traceable. It has an audit trail, so you know who is doing what, and you can see the performance of the team members. And you can also see the progress in any business operations in the scope of quality and compliance management in this example. And we know there are companies actually managing all these tasks on paper, which is very, very difficult for them, as you know. And we believe that it's time for digital transformation. And let's digitally transform our business processes. Let's go paperless, and let's increase our performance. So now we are in the Q&A session, and we'll take questions, and we'll address them. So one of the questions, for example, that I have been receiving is about QDMS's capability of managing different quality management systems in one QDMS software, for example. So the answer of this question is yes. So you can manage multiple quality management systems in QDMS at the same time. You don't have to install QDMS many different times, basically. So if you're complying with ISO 9001, if you're complying with ISO 13485, and at the same time, perhaps you're complying with ISO 14000, which is the environment safety standard of ISO, which is a typical combination, ISO 13485 and ISO 9001, and with ISO 14000. So we can manage the quality management systems, more than one quality management systems in QDMS, in a digital environment with no need of paper. Marty, I'd like to turn to you a little bit, if that's okay. So based on your experience, because you've been helping companies go paperless for a long time, plus before being the president of Paperless Solutions, you were also in professional work life, so you also have experience, observations as well coming from your past work experiences. So in this, from this point of view, we know there are companies who like to go paperless, or we know there are team members or managers or executives in a company who like their company to go paperless. But sometimes they need help in terms of getting internal buy-in, in terms of convincing their team members, their boss, their managers, for example. Do you have any tips, any insights that you can share with them for them to be able to have more internal backing for their company to go paperless? Marty?
Yes, Kevin. I just want to share a story about one of our clients that was a medical equipment manufacturer. They were generating a lot of paper, and they will also get involved with audits. And we know how when an auditor comes in, first off, it's very expensive to have an auditor come in. It's very time consuming to get all the files ready for them to look at. And if they fail, it becomes very expensive. So QDMS was able to save them time and space. It was to make sure that everybody on the floor was up to date in their factory with the proper information. And the fact that QDMS could be multilingual, they can use, they had people that had some of the information they needed in Spanish, some of it in English. So the customer liked the fact that they were able to get all this information out and everybody had the up-to-date information. It saved them a lot of time with the audit. It saved them a lot of space, and it saved them money because if they fail the audit, then they've got major problems. So they went with QDMS because of all the advantages that Kevin and Sam were just talking about. It's just something that will save a lot of time, save space, save money, and provide security to the files. So it's a terrific product, and it's something that if you have to go through a lot of audits, it's something that will just help maintain your business. So I just want to share that story with the people that are listening to this about QDMS. Okay, Kevin?
Thank you, Marty. So one of the actually important things about going paperless nowadays is COVID-19 crisis that we are in. So we are in June right now. Today is June 16, right? And fundamentally, we haven't actually passed this COVID-19 crisis yet. We still have the issues, right? We haven't found the vaccine, we haven't found the pills, and we still actually under risk right now. Especially if we go to office, if we work with a group of team members, we are all under risk. That's a fact. So that also makes it more important than before is to go paperless. Imagine you access your data remotely. Imagine you manage your documentation remotely, digitally, with no need of physical paper, so you don't have to be in the office necessarily. Or you have to be in the office, but not that long, perhaps. You can reduce the time that you spend at office, possibly. So in that sense as well, because of COVID-19 situation, being paperless and going digital becomes more and more important. That is how it looks. When we look at the questions that we have been receiving, one of the questions is about the structure of QDMS, the one that Sam actually demonstrated earlier. So the question is about modular structure. What is the minimum number of modules we can have for QDMS, for example? That's an important question. So there is no minimum actually for QDMS. You can choose any module you like. You can have one module, two modules. You can start with 3, 2, 1, and you can increase it later on. That's perfectly fine. So our main goal is to be helping companies going paperless and going digital, reduce the paperwork that they have and help them increase their efficiency. So if we can do it with one module of QDMS, that's perfectly fine. If you need more than one, you are more than welcome to have more modules of QDMS, because that's our mission, to help companies automate and digitize their processes at the end of the day. So let's see what other questions that we need to address. One of the questions is about mobile app. Sam already showed it to you. So you just need internet access to activate your mobile app of QDMS, native mobile, and you can access the same data that you access via your laptop. So when you're on the road, when you have your smartphone, which we all have smartphones right now, always with us typically. So you can basically log in, again, username and password for security purposes, and then you can log into the system and you can view and process your business processes in QDMS digitally with no need of paper, basically. So also one of the difficulties, maybe I should ask Marty for this. So Marty, why don't you tell us based on your experience, so when the companies are going paperless, what type of difficulties or challenges they typically face?
Well, the main thing is to make sure management is behind the whole project. To make sure that when you want to go paperless, that management make sure that it's done properly, and that everybody is on the same page and going, or I should say, the same digital page, and that everybody wants to go forward with it. And the other thing is that it can't be a sprint. It's a marathon. It's a long, drawn-out process. You shouldn't decide one day to make the whole company go paperless. You should do it project by project. Start with a little. Get used to working with it. Work in one department, and then expand from one department to another. That way, everybody gets to get comfortable with it. You work out all the pitfalls. So the other thing is to make sure that you know beforehand what documents you want to go digital with. You have to decide on a game plan before you actually go digital. You just can't say, okay, I'm going digital, and we're going to make every document a digital document. You have to start. Maybe you start with QDMS, or maybe you start with a Bimser product called EBA, which allows you to do document management of all types of documents. It could be used in HR, it could be used in accounts payables, it could be used in engineering. So the thing is to make sure everybody's on the same page, management is behind the project, and you start slowly and grow from there. So that's the experience we've seen.
That's great. I think that is very important. Having phases, right? Going step by step, phase by phase, going paperless, piece by piece, in a way, and then until you complete the entire phase, you go step by step. I think that's easier to execute in a way, and step by step you go towards your goal, just like you mentioned, it's a marathon. So the idea is to go totally paperless, right? So you don't want to have any paper or minimum amount of paper at your organization. So when you go phase by phase, step by step, based on the importance of processes and business requirements that you have, then it's much easier. If that is, say, accounts payable automation is, let's say, your priority. We have customers, we have seen many different projects. I'm sure Marty's seen also many of them as well. So sometimes you receive 5,000 invoices from UPS. You receive 3,000 invoices a month from FedEx. Sometimes these things are happening. Basically, if you're in e-commerce, if you do shipping all the time, often, for example, that means you receive same type of invoice again and again, and you basically process it by hand, and this is very time consuming. So imagine you automate this process to go paperless, for example. So if that is the case, if that is accounts payable automation, that's your priority, is to generate a lot of paper and basically it prevents you from become productive, for instance, then accounts payable automation is going to be phase one, perhaps. So that is basically the managerial decision that you need to make.
I just want to add one.
Yes, please.
I just want to add one other thing, and that is that a lot of times when you decide to go paperless within an organization, sometimes there's objection. People are sometimes not comfortable with change, and we found out that once you install a paperless system, sometimes it may take 3 months to 6 months for people to get comfortable to working with it. But our experience has shown that once they go paperless, we had a customer tell us that their system, they had a problem with the system, and everybody started complaining, where is our documents? They didn't want to go back to paper, because once you get used to working with paper, with the advantages of having all the documents at your fingertips, with being able to search, whether it be by a name, a date, a number, it's so convenient that people don't want to go back to the old way. So it's just a very easy, convenient way of working with documents.
Yes, it's very important. It is very important. Once being paperless is the new normal, I think that becomes a standard. That's how it looks. Okay, great. I mean, it looks like we address many questions as part of our conversation today. And as I mentioned earlier, this paperless Tuesdays webinar series will continue, and we are planning to perform these webinar sessions every Tuesday. That's why we call it Paperless Tuesdays. So that is the idea. Of course, our main goal is to help you go paperless every day, not only Tuesdays, but just like Marty mentioned. So we are starting phase by phase. So we started for Tuesdays for now, and we'll increase it one by one. Marty, before we end the session, would you like to share any other insights? Anything else you'd like to add?
No, just the fact that many studies have shown that that there's an increase in productivity, that the savings with space and time and money and security is proven to be significant with organizations, and that's why more and more companies are becoming more paperless.
Thank you, Marty. And also, I'm sure you noticed that we keep our contact information on the screen. So after this webinar, if you'd like to continue this conversation, if you'd like to schedule one-to-one meetings, please feel free to shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to schedule a one-to-one meeting with you. There may be a discovery call, there may be a demonstration call, or there may be a combination of all. So we are looking forward to hearing from you. Please, anytime you can give us a call or send us an email. Before I end this webinar session, I'd like to remind you that we have a YouTube channel that you can visit. And then you go to our Bimser International YouTube channel. There is a playlist. When you click the playlist, you'll see a series of videos over there. And one of the trail is about webinar recordings, including this webinar and also the previous webinars are and will be available in YouTube channel of ours. And you can access anytime you like. You can watch, you can share with your team members. And we are trying to add more and more webinars on weekly basis on our YouTube channel. And that's a pretty active channel, by the way. So we definitely invite you and welcome you to visit and watch more videos of ours about digital transformation, about being paperless, about quality management, asset management, and also business process automation. And as I mentioned, Paperless Tuesday webinar sessions are designed to run on Tuesdays. And in coming weeks, we'll be talking about going paperless in pharma industry, aerospace industry, in environmental services industry, facility management, also nursing homes and other industries, basically. So we have a lot of subjects to cover as we go paperless, because we know that there's a long way to go for companies to go paperless, and we are here to help. And we like to share our insights, our experiences, some use cases, and we'll be talking about these industries from the scope of going paperless and also going digital. I'd like to thank you for your time and for your interest. We are looking forward to seeing you in our coming webinar sessions.